Ciao Fabri.
And here we go. Ciao,
Ciao
Fa, how are
Fabri.
you?
Ciao Fabri, can you see me? Yes. So we can
can.
start today. We are here live on YouTube. As always, bring you with all the latest. We have plenty of things happening, to be honest. So I will start directly with probably the biggest news of the week. I don't know if you agree with me, is the injury of Rodrigo and how that will also change the future at Real Madrid with some decisions that will be happening in the coming weeks and months.
No, exactly. That's exactly the point. The impact of Rodrigo injury is going to be big on the player, and we wish him obviously all the very best to return as soon as possible. It's also beautiful to see how football world reacted to support Rodrigo Goes, from his idol in childhood, Neymar, to all the other players at Real Madrid, and not only. So beautiful to see this affection for this fantastic player, but at the same time, it will have an impact also on the future plans for Real Madrid, because in terms of transfers, if you remember last summer at the very end, in the final 2-3 weeks of the summer transfer window, there was the possibility for Rodrigo to go to Manchester City. At the end of the day, he wanted to stay at Real Madrid, and Real Madrid never wanted to lower the price for Rodrigo, so nothing happened, but he was a target for Manchester City. He's always been one of the players, I think publicly, most appreciated by Pep Guardiola. Pep always mentioned in his interview his appreciation for Rodrigo, and so there has always been this good feeling. And so who knows what was going to happen in the summer transfer window, because Rodrigo restarted playing at very good level in the recent months after a difficult second part of the season last year in 2025. Now, obviously, he's going to be out for a long time, so nothing is going to happen in the summer. From Real Madrid, the expectation is to see Rodrigo out at least until November, beginning of December. Then recovery plans for this serious injury can take longer sometimes, can take shorter, depends also on the player, but the expectation is to see the real Rodrigo back on the pitch only at the beginning of 2027. So this is showing how serious it is injury, and obviously in the summer nothing will happen. This will also impact the plans for the player and for Real Madrid, but at the moment obviously the full focus of the club is on supporting Rodrigo Goes.
Before jumping the next topics for today, I see here in the chat many questions. There is Vaida, our friend here, asking about Osimhen, Bayern Munich. We spoke about Osimhen last week as well, right? After the Champions League playoffs. So his situation will be defined in the coming weeks. If you want to answer this question as well.
Ma look, at the moment I can guarantee that Osimhen is only focused on Galatasaray. They are fighting still in Champions League. They have a big clash coming soon, and also on the Turkish League, of course. So at the moment Osimhen is only focused on that. And then on Bayern, what I'm hearing, apart of what's going to happen with Victor Osimhen in the summer, what I'm hearing is that their main focus now is to try reach an agreement with Harry Kane on a new contract. So Bayern are pushing on that. They've been able to extend some important contracts, including Dayot Upamecano in the recent weeks. Lennart Karl could be the next one, but for Harry Kane obviously is a big decision, not just financially but also on the personal point of view. So now the focus at Bayern is make sure that the future of Harry Kane is going to be at Bayern, and then we will see what they will do in terms of new strikers.
Let's move to the Premier League right now, speaking about Manchester United, because they are planning for a big target in the summer. You spoke about it in the last hours as well.
Yes, because in the press conference today, Michael Carrick sent the first indications. I mean, it was just an answer, but an important answer about what Manchester United can do up front in the summer transfer window. Because we all know, and I've been mentioning to you here on the channel several times, the plan of Man United is to add midfielders. Could be one, could be two. Let's see what's going to happen. But I see Man United very busy with midfielders, but it's not finished there. There is more to do in the summer transfer window. And Michael Carrick, when asked about the possibility to add a new left winger to the squad in the summer, he said it could be definitely an option, definitely a point. So the answer was like, okay, yes, there is already internal discussion in Manchester United about that, and that's the reality. Manchester United have been following left wingers for some time. Don't forget that when Ruben Amorim was the manager, they were in the mix for Antoine Semenyo, and then Manchester City were the favorite destination for the player. But also, don't forget what I've been telling you about a player that I think is going to be an interesting one to follow in the summer, Yan Diomande. Yan Diomande is doing fantastic at Leipzig, and my understanding is that Manchester United, already in January, I said here on the channel, and I keep repeating, sent their scouts several times to follow Yan Diomande. So he will be one of the players being monitored again for sure, and let's see if there is going to be more. So Man United are looking at left wingers, and I'm sure there will be movement on this in the next months, waiting to understand who's going to be the manager.
So you just answered a question coming from our friend in the chat asking about Diomande, so we are covered by that. And let's move to another topic, and that's about Adeyemi, who was at the center of a lot of rumors in 2025. No, in January 2025 with the Napoli saga, we know what happened then, and then also in the summer. What can we expect from him ahead of the summer transfer window?
It's going to be a big moment for Karim Adeyemi. There were many changes in the recent months, I would say in the last year, changing agents, then changing his position about the future. As you said, he was close to joining Napoli, then he decided to stay at Dortmund. So what happens now? He's out of contract in June 2027, so almost 1 year. So now Adeyemi will have to decide in the summer what to do. Basically, it's sign a deal at Borussia Dortmund or explore different options for the summer transfer window. He's been offered to several clubs. He's been proposed as an option to several clubs, I would say, in the last year, last summer, and in the January window, but then in January, Borussia Dortmund didn't have any plan to let him go. In the summer 2025, it was a different situation. Let's see what's going to happen now, because, for example, two clubs who have been offered the possibility to go for Adeyemi were, in 2025, Manchester United and Chelsea, and both clubs were not proceeding because of the cost and also because of the skills of players they were looking for. So he was not top of the list at both clubs. Now, obviously, 1 year before the end of his contract, he's doing quite well at Borussia Dortmund, so he remains a threat up front, a player who can always create something. And so let's see what's going to happen in terms of movements around Adeyemi. But now the moment is sign your contract at Dortmund or consider an exit in the summer transfer window.
So we mentioned about Manchester United, we mentioned about Liverpool, we mentioned about other clubs as well. Let's move to Arsenal, because there have been a lot of rumors about this Italian talent. We know him very well here in Italy, Francesco Pio Esposito, of course, the Inter striker. Inter president also spoke about him. And it was pretty clear that the intention of the Italian club is not to sell Esposito in the summer, at least. But then who can be a target for Arsenal then?
Look, I think Arsenal will do something up front. So my understanding is we were already discussing this on the channel about several positions and Arsenal being busy in the summer. But what I can add today is that I expect Arsenal to do something up front in terms of adding maybe one more player in the summer transfer window. So Arsenal are looking at right backs, Arsenal are looking at midfielders, but Arsenal are also looking at players up front. So this is the first point. On Francesco Pio Esposito, he's doing fantastic for Inter. Inter president Marotta yesterday was very clear, the player is not for sale. He also said Arsenal didn't ask us about the player, which is the reality. Arsenal do normal scouting activity always. Esposito is one of the most talented center strikers around, and so it's obvious to know the player. Also, Arsenal director is Italian, Andrea Berta, and follows Serie A very well, so it's pretty obvious to follow a player like Esposito, but that's it. Arsenal never made a proposal, Arsenal never approached anyone, they are just following several players, and I think eventually in terms of skills, when Arsenal decide to add players up front, I think it's going to be with different kind of skills. I mean, traditional number 9, they invested big money on Victor Gyökeres already last summer, and they keep supporting the player. So I think Arsenal are looking for something different up front. Then it's still very early, it's beginning of March. There is plenty of time to see who is going to be the main targets for Arsenal, but I expect them busy also up front.
Last topic for today, then we will be back maybe later or tomorrow. Let's see what's happening today. Is about Real Madrid, because there are a lot of questions and doubts and rumors about the future of Álvaro Arbeloa. He had a disappointing defeat on Monday, but then there is always, more matches coming up in the coming week and probably will determine his future. What do you think about it?
Well, personally, I think also the injuries are being a point to discuss always about Real Madrid. It's crazy how many serious injuries they're having. Now there is Mbappe out, Bellingham out, Rodrigo out, and many others not available, for example, for the next game against Celta Vigo, but also in the upcoming weeks, they will have plenty of players out, and obviously that's a point. At the moment, the message coming from Real Madrid on Álvaro Arbeloa remains the same. At the end of the season, they will assess the situation and decide what to do with Arbeloa. He still has the opportunity to change his future and to stay eventually as Real Madrid permanent manager. But at Real Madrid, as I've been telling you in January, when there was the shock news of Xabi Alonso getting fired and Arbeloa incoming, the message is trophies. So Real Madrid want to see trophies. Now they are out of the Copa del Rey. In Champions League there is a big clash with Manchester City, and it's a very difficult bracket to one of Real Madrid. Then in La Liga now Barcelona are doing quite well, so it's not an easy situation for sure. Pressure is very clear around Álvaro Arbeloa, but at the moment the message coming from Real Madrid is, first, let's see how the season will end with Álvaro Arbeloa, and then assess eventual options. But at the moment, again, a part of the appreciation for Jurgen Klopp I mentioned many times, and a part for some some other managers being discussed internally. At the moment, Real Madrid have not started any official conversation, official talk with any other coach. So still early, and Arbeloa still has the opportunity to change his future.
Thank you, Fabri, for today. Talk to you maybe later, maybe tomorrow, let's say.
Perfect. Thank you, guys, as always, and we will see you live